welcome to Boozy Browsing. I'm Meeky.
And I'm Matt.
All right, so today we don't have a specific topic. We're just trying to figure out, kind of last minute because we actually have a little busy week and didn't get a chance to prep for this.
Right. Well, I had a chance to prep and buy beer, but I was still late for the recording. So I have my beer.
I mean, we were planning on doing some different things, and then like it didn't feel like it was quite ready to be discussed or demonstrate. So we can do that for later episodes. But for today, so now I guess we can ask AI if there's a good topic.
Well, I want to introduce my beer first because I want to try it.
All right. Go ahead.
So I'm going with the Four Noses.
Oh, nice.
Creme Leche. I don't know how to pronounce leche because I'm, whatever. Imperial Stout.
I like the design.
It's going to have a little milk in it. So we'll see how that does on my belly.
It kind of looks like a Liquid Death design.
Yeah, similar.
Well, I'm actually, last time I did the white one. Today I'm going to try the Cabernet.
Well, cheers.
I had a pretty good review. So it's like, all right, I'll try it. Yeah, I got to start looking for Florida wine and Florida beer to test out.
Do they make Florida wine?
I don't know. I mean, it's warm. Shouldn't they have some wine?
I don't know how that works. I don't know that it's supposed to be warm. I think it's...
maybe it has to be dried? I don't know.
I think it's all about the soil too, but because they have some vineyards in Colorado.
I mean, I saw a vineyard. There's like
Okay.
some wine tasting areas I've seen, not too far from me. So
Okay.
I'm guessing, but whatever. All right, so let me ask.
Let me switch it to screen share so we can see what you're asking. Or
Let me do ChatGPT. Let me just clean up my. I know every time I screen share, people freak out on the amount of tabs I have open. So, all right. I don't know if it's gonna probably go crazy. Let's see. Share. I just share the window. There we go. Can you see my screen?
Yep.
All right. I'm gonna use O3 because it's supposed to be better at researching, I'm guessing.
Mm-hmm.
And analysis. I don't know if this requires a lot of researching analysis or not, but
Right.
We are trying to come up with a topic for Boozy Browsing podcast.
I feel like we've gone from completely making fun of AI when we first started only like a month and a half ago, the podcast, to now we're now using
it a lot.
Everything we're doing on the podcast.
Well, I think it's a what is it? Trend timing thing too, because we've been testing a lot of different things to create different prototype and different apps that we're creating.
Oh, yeah.
So when in Rome, and also I was actually gonna say, like, did you know that they had the ChatGPT or OpenAI went down for like several hours, and people all freaked out because they rely on ChatGPT so much these days. And I do use it every day now. It's kind of scary at the same time, but I didn't know it went down though, because I wasn't really using it that much.
Yeah. I use others now, but I use ChatGPT less, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I use LLMs. Right. I've been using other ones lately that I haven't really used ChatGPT. That's why I wanted to use it, because that went down because O3 Pro came out. And there was I saw a lot of analysis, comparison analysis between O3 and O3 Pro and all the other.
O3 Pro, right? I brought this up yesterday. It's like, when are they going to get some product managers and like come up with real names for what each one does?
Right.
Because having to look up and remember what O3 does versus 4.0 versus all the things around ChatGPT especially, but other ones are even similar. It's like,
I mean, at least they gave the description now. Like, they didn't even have it before. Use advanced reasoning.
So maybe they do have some product managers on it.
Right. And then like they do have,
or just AI learning and deciding to add it itself.
It's also probably going to be useful. Well, not for this one, but for the API connections. Like some of these are expensive because like I did read it somewhere that if you're going to use or test out O3 Pro, you might be hitting a lot of like if the credit, like the price for that will be crazy.
Yeah.
Compared to this. So don't do simple stuff with that.
I do feel like they've been slowly or maybe fast on some of them incrementing up some of the costs because of their internal costs. I feel like even when I'm using it for the same amount of things, I'll run out of the paid credits for the month or something quickly.
Right.
Like you were doing a report yesterday and you had to do it like paid $40. It's like that's unheard of in LLM money. Like you're supposed to be in pennies.
I know, and it was weird because like I did the same thing before, but this time the difference was because I think this was the learning curve too. But this time I actually had a bunch of supporting documents in PDF.
Mm-hmm.
I was uploading those, and little did I know that it had trouble opening the PDF, so it had to translate that to text files. So that was expensive for all the files that I uploaded. And then I had like some diagrams for the images, and then had a hard time translating that. So all this translating portion cost a lot. Yeah. And it's like, it literally when like usually this same task, I think before when I did it, took about like 500 credit-ish, and this one took 3,000 something credits. Yeah. And I was keep evaluating and reevaluate and then re-uploading it, and then it failed, and every time it redid it, I think it just did the whole process. So I was like, fuck. I was like, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, this week I was trying to get one to do like a code review just to see what it would do and clean up for standards because it was a really messy code base. And it kept like outputting a bunch of stuff. It typically does this, right? And then it would end it like, all right, it's all done. And I'd look at the code like it didn't do anything. Like, well, you didn't do anything. And then its immediate response was, oh, you're right. Let me do it this time. And then it would do the whole thing again. And it did it 5 times, and it kept taking credits.
Yeah.
Like lots of credits. Like, and it never did what it was saying it was doing.
Yeah. I think that happened to me because it skipped, because I was keep adding more things while it was processing it, so it skipped certain things and it didn't really apply it, and it was keep adding it, appending it without making it, combining it with a analysis add to it.
Yeah.
So it was a little annoying, but
I know I said this to you at one point. I don't know if I said it on a podcast. It was like I still feel like when I'm doing any of the ones that are supposed to be doing coding, like I feel like I'm getting a different person, basically a different engine of some kind each time, and it will get me varying degrees of correct, or it will correct one of the other commits from an earlier one. And it'll do it in a different way. Sometimes it'll break more things. Sometimes it'll fix extra things that I didn't ask for. Yesterday I asked it to do a simple thing, and it changed the whole UI of this thing. But it made it look really nice. It's like, oh, okay. I didn't ask for that.
Yeah. But that's a good one. But I think the ones, not just for the whole programming portion of it, but when I was trying to generate a report, I was only asking to replace one section. Yeah. And I was specific about it. And it decided to redo the whole thing. So like I did like the other paragraphs before, so I just wanted to change that one paragraph, and now it's all different. So I have to go back and just kind of skeleton with a Franken fix everything. Yeah. So that's annoying. Maybe I'm just putting the prompt wrong. I just have to very, very specific. Do not change anything except for this.
I think you'd be surprised.
Yeah.
Either way, you're going to get a different answer each time also.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so.
These are interesting titles. I don't know if they're actual interesting topics.
Right. WordCamp to Word Dominion. Oh, so the WordCamp EU happened. I think it was last week, right?
It just finished up.
Just bought it. I only saw this summary of it. I didn't really pay too much attention to it. So can't really talk about that unless you know the contents of it. LLM Smackdown Grok versus Gemini versus GPT 4.0. Why is it specifically 4.0?
Yeah. Well, this is ChatGPT asking for it, so why? Also, why is that?
Yeah. I mean,
And you're doing it with O3.
yeah.
You know.
Yeah. I mean, this is actually something that we can test it first and play with it on if we really wanted to do like some vibe coding with different ones to see which one works better. That's something we can
I've
do.
never used the traditional chat ones for coding.
I haven't either, but
I've only used
that's
the
why.
ones that are actually integrated to a repository or a code base.
That's why, because I'm seeing these days, if you actually really look at this, there, like I forgot exactly where it was. They specifically have like a code or something, and on all the ones new LLMs I've been seeing.
Uh-huh.
So I'm kind of curious if how well, because I was just trying to test out ChatGPT 03 with coding, and I pretty much asked it to help me with creating a prompt for using it in different vibe coding apps, just to see how well it actually put that together. But I haven't tested Grok or Gemini on that, or Perplexity. I know Claude is very known for writing a good articles or contents, so it might have a good prompt copy too. So, but that's something we can do after we test it out, because I don't want to talk about it prematurely before knowing it.
Yeah.
Design for Doom Scroller. What TikTok Reels UX teaches about micro loops, stickiness, and page speed? I don't use TikTok enough to know this.
I mean, it's, but it's the same on any social media app. What even like YouTube, like, the whole goal is to keep you.
Yeah.
Like I think a lot of people don't understand how much tech is in those scrolling. Like, if you slow down and look at something too long, that's a thing. That's an insight that it's taking. Not to mention, like, if you click on it, it's even bigger. If you go back, or if you click on the next thing, it is recording all of that for you. I don't think we could even come close to replicating.
Yeah. All the social, yeah. They have people handling that 24/7. So, drink it, fix it, or drink it 5 sites, 5 minutes. Well, we kind of did this.
Yeah, I think we should do that again.
Yeah. Well, once we actually identify the 5 sites that we want to evaluate, we'll do that next time.
Yep.
Headless blind taste test. Same WP, backend, 3 front ends. Well, this requires setup. You need to use all.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or we have to find the sites that uses these 3 and then just compare it. And also, it's hard to compare it because it's not exactly the same. There are other things to evaluate. But goes to headless, your topic.
Yeah. I think that question, or that like prompt of a thing to do, is lacking in the understanding of like what's involved in front end performance.
Okay.
Like, anything can go wrong during a test like that, though, because they're all going to be close, especially if you're going to be building them bespoke or from scratch, whatever you want to say. They're going to be as fast as you can make them on the front end. So there's always going to be one that's slower, but that could be any number of reasons that are not actually its technology, like on a small scale. Yeah,
I agree. So yeah, that's kind of like not understanding what's involved in actual development and actual deployment, or even QA.
Yeah.
All right. Dark side of dark mode. Color contrast pitfall. What's an OLED myth?
Is that like the monitor? Like a screen, I guess? All LEDs? That's
And when accessibility trumps aesthetics. Actually, this was an interesting point because I forgot which LLMs I was using. I had to evaluate our company colors, color
fun.
palettes, and it didn't like one color because it was accessibility wise, it's hard to distinguish. It was like a light. It's a really light gray with a blue tint on it.
Yeah.
And I don't know why it was in our color scheme because we don't use it really. We might have used it for one background at one point. So, but it said that could we consider using that because of accessibility reasons. I was like, oh, okay. So I guess something about that. There are colors that you can make sure not to use. I mean, our site doesn't go crazy with accessibility because we're not that type of company, but it's good to know not to use certain colors.
Yeah, we don't have a lot of fancy designs with layers of images and stuff.
We intentionally make it very simple color choice. Yeah. And then part of it is because like I like the simple color, modern looking. I was kind of big on that. But yeah, so but even for that, they kind of flagged it. So Site Speed Showdown 2025 benchmark Hostinger's new AI hosting. Hostingers, isn't that a?
It's a hosting company.
Yeah, one client who we migrated off of Hostinger a while ago, but other than that, I never really used it. Cloudflare Mirage versus WP Engine Atlas.
I mean, I was reading ahead. I like the build a brand in 45. Like we're not a branding company at all. Okay. Like, be curious to see what it could do. Like we could build a website in 45 minutes at this point.
This thing will be fully functional. I was just watching something about this recently. Well, this morning actually. So kind of curious to do that.
We've got. I mean, I told you about my son's business idea. We could try that. Yeah. See what it comes up with it for branding.
Okay.
I mean, I have no idea exactly what he wants, but we can fake it.
Okay. I mean, I got a couple more tools that we can test out for that specifically because like I wasn't really looking at the design portion of it, but then it was a designer who was explaining how he uses it. So versus we as a developer is a little different use case. Yep. So I wanted to test that out, but I didn't really get to it. But yeah, so you pretty much skipped over the one.
Yeah, I saw that one. Like, I don't care about that one.
All right. And then UX red flag drinking game. This is going to be fun when we have a UX designer as a guest to play with this thing. So when we have one, we can probably do that. Quick steps, pick a star pay, whatever. So that's 10. I mean, could you give me... One thing I noticed with O3, it's fast.
Okay.
Like even when I was asking for some of the prompt suggestions, it was, or maybe I was tainted too. I was just kind of like, maybe I was using Manus a lot lately, and it's just so slow. And compared to that, this was so fast. Search is dead. Long live the bot.
I don't know. I could see that going either way.
Yeah, well,
I mean, just doing better search.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious though, like how many people actually still uses regular Google or like any search versus
like as a first thing.
Yeah. Or just using one of the LLMs. Because previously LLMs are a little outdated, but now all these other ones are very up to date. Use. Like
I need to start rethinking my use of some of the LLMs for just quick answers because like I was showing you today, like I asked it a question and its answer was not publicly available. It was stuff that I've talked to it about product ideas. It was like, oh, well, I thought this was like a private, well, that's kind of weird, like a private conversation and you're going to go get information off the web. It's like,
Right.
I don't want my past stuff to influence you. I just want to get this answer.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to look at like, how do I, like, I know it has the projects, but I don't know that those are as like walled off as I thought they were.
Yeah. I mean, I know for Grok they have like a ghost mode, so
so you can
that
do one
doesn't
off.
affect that. And also, yeah, I was loosely searching for that because I didn't want some of the, because obviously I use it for work and I use it for personal stuff.
Yeah.
I don't want that to be remembering as like one's affecting the other.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's it. And also that kind of brings me to interesting questions on like some of the. I'm kind of curious about how the promotions and ads gonna work, because I did hear somewhere that people get tractions from the LLM results, like when they search for certain things and then they show up there, so like they go there. I'm like, how do you get into that, or do you just have to be ranked really high on SEO in order for that?
Now it's not even, it's the getting the right type of content will get you in there, and formatting for the right format of your content.
So you need to be very targeted to a specific thing so that it will pick up when they're scraping the web.
Yeah, that's what they're. I mean, there's a fair amount of conversation around, like even media companies, especially news companies, or like companies that have some type of information that people are asking questions on and getting answers. Those sites they're tanking. Because like you said, people are not going to google.com and typing in, or using their browser and typing in the search question. They're using, or Google Chrome has switched over for them and it's just using an LLM answer, the ChatGPT answer, and that's giving them the content they need. And there's links, there's references, but if you already have your answer, why do you click? What's the point of clicking the reference?
Right. Yeah, and then they kind of do the summary and then analyze for you. But yeah, I mean, like targeting specifically for showing up in LLM will be an interesting SEO tactic that you want to do. All right. What the hell? Analytics. I can't even pronounce it. Dialytics. The first AI native browser in wild. Hands on with the browser companies to dial data.
I'm testing out a question. I want to see if there's a point in doing it. That's interesting. Yeah, so I asked it, somewhat topical, what's going on in LA the past week. But it's giving me like an entire aggregated article.
Which one did you use?
I'm still on Grok because I was doing it before.
Okay.
I mean, now it's talking about the social unrest, but it was telling me about a bunch of like festivals and like basically things to do. Like these would have been in a full search results of ability to click into things like local websites. And the very bottom, I've got notes. DiscoverLosAngeles.com, timeout.com are the only two links that it comes to. Some little weird images. Oh, to x.com, shocking. About the LA Times. It doesn't even go to the LA Times, it goes to an X post of the LA Times. Keeping traffic, that's smart. For them.
Yeah.
I mean, is Grok its own? I know, who owns it, but I wonder how that works, like partnership or versus like.
Yeah, and also
is it
depends
part
on
of X? It's not, right? It's its own totally entity that's owned by Elon. I don't know how it works.
So.
Yeah, I don't really care.
I know he rolled that out because he was not happy with OpenAI.
Right. So it might have been his own
Yeah.
company that he.
Right. I mean, like, there's a Meta one, but it's an open source completely together. But I don't know if it's more technical stuff or they actually have chat windows like this. Gemini, I haven't really tested it. I recently started using it because before that it was more like I only use it for like API or project based. But
Yeah.
I saw the Gemini LLM too. I haven't really tested it yet though. I know a lot of people like Claude, whatever,
Claude.
depending on where you're from, that they pronounce it differently. But
Yeah.
I haven't really used it that much. I use that engine from Perplexity because there's option for it. I did like Perplexity initially because it did better research. But now there's so many different things that does different things better. It's all over the place, but yeah, I try to look at, I mean, I know some people actually keep track of what's good at what.
Right.
But I like to reference their thing and watch it because I want them to give me the synopsis of it. And I give you the website that does like which one actually performs better on which section. So I'll just use that to see it.
I still feel like it's not like it's daily, but it changes quick enough that referencing a static article or something like that is almost pointless, where you have to look up today. If I'm going to look up something today, well, where should I go? Almost like what tools should I use? Which is kind of exhausting in one sense. Like,
yeah,
I mean, everything else is faster, but having to know like where to go, and I'd rather go, like I was saying, like with the product management team, like if they need to rename ChatGPT, I think, because it's hard to say, and
ChatGPT, OpenAI.
It's an old person saying it, and I think with Johnny Ive and like an actual team coming in, it's probably going to be totally different. But like, I need one place to go, and then I can tell you what I'm going to ask you a question. You figure out what I'm asking, where the best place is, and then give me the answer. Like, that's where it needs to be. Like, I don't know why that layer isn't there.
I think Open Router kind of does that. I haven't really tested out. That's why I was like recommending, like, well, why don't we test out Open Router? Because it's supposed to, if you don't specifically mention it, it will evaluate based on what you're asking for. They'll pick which one to use to do it.
Yeah.
But I haven't tested it to see if it's actually working well. So that's one thing that I wanted to play with as we go further with some of our app development.
Open Router. Who came up with that? It's such a technical name.
Yeah. And I don't know if they actually
open source.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, what's the open part?
I have no idea.
I'm on the site now, so I was looking.
Yeah.
Like, what's the?
As far as I know, open source one is Llama, which is Meta, right?
I think that's their name for it. Yep.
But that's when if you're actually building your own thing. I mean, these days there's so many different LLMs that you can tag on it, and I think that's more powerful. It's kind of like going with the managed hosting. Why not take advantage of it? That's why I feel like it. But
speaking of all these tools, have you looked at your like monthly billing yet?
Not yet.
I looked at mine today. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. Like, not in dollar amount, but like how many. It wasn't as bad.
I was actually thinking about that when I was keep buying credits for Manus, and I was like, "Is this gonna really stack up?" But yeah, I don't think we have crazy amount because I think we're a little cautious about it. But still, I mean, it's a trade-off too, because like if it's gonna really save us time on certain things, and I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
But
when I look at like the amount of work that I'm able to get done with some of the coding ones right now, and like quote unquote vibe coding, I feel like I'm like there needs to be another word for the way I'm using them, because I'm basically using them as my assistant junior team of developers, and then I update the code. Then I change the code. Like it's an I feel like it's an interesting or different way of workflow. Like I'll tell it to what to do. Like I'll go through and tell them all what to do. I get a few of them running on different little things, right? And they take time, not a lot of time, but then I'll come back to them when I'm, time shift, right? And I go back and I look at them again, and then I'll see their description. I was like, okay, that sounds great. And I look at the code, it's like, oh, that's not what I want. It's like, or it's like, oh, like I was saying before, like, oh, let's see what this looks like. And it's like, oh, it's a total brand new thing. But like the cost for those that I've spent in the last couple of months, like, I mean, it's minutes, maybe hours of a person over the course of, like I said, a couple of months.
Right.
And let's say I'm working, like I'm engaging with them like 3 hours out of the day.
Mm-hmm.
It's a significant shift in cost, like reduction in the volume of code and volume of like features that they develop. Is again, not better, but just more. It takes me the other 5 hours of the day to make some corrections.
And I told you this before, because the way we're using it, it's probably going to be very different, because we're already technical, and especially you, because you tested more than I did for so far. Because the way I use it, it was a little more on the like a workflow side, that you're actually building stuff to test it out to like end to end. You already have that all that knowledge, and you know how to use it. So you're already a senior architect overseeing this every little step of it. So like you're also, it's probably going to be more efficient because you already know exactly what to ask.
Yeah.
So it's a little different experience. And also, I don't think if you were not technical enough, it's probably going to be longer to figure out how to work this thing, and you don't even know how to evaluate it. But you know quickly enough that like if something's really off, I'm like, hey, no, that's not what it's supposed to do. You need to fix it the right way. So it's a little different, and it's probably making more efficient because of that. And I feel like that's like, even like we use vibe coding or even like helping code it's more like, it feels more like back in the day one. It's kind of going back to when we're using, like, well, not what we're using, like by my previous companies, more like a corporate lens. Like when we're using the offshore, I have to send the pseudocode.
Yeah.
In order for them to build it. And a lot of times, like depending on the level of their skill sets, like the pseudocode has really, really specific and really detailed, and it's almost feel like I should have just written it kind of detail. So like I think it's kind of like a balance between that, because like you're providing somewhat of a pseudocode by throwing into the instruction for them to understand how to build it to what you want it to be.
Right.
Yeah. So maybe a little.
The other thing is with that like the workflow now is like the timing is like not just with offshore, like with what was offshore then, and even kind of now, but where you hand it off and you wait. Even if it's like nearshore, it's still going to be a wait. Like, well, even if you're in the company and you're sending it to a junior developer, it's going to take more time than what it takes to do this as far as feedback and response. But the ability for it to think a little bit outside of the box, because of if I tell it, again, I'm telling it like what the app is supposed to do, and then it figures it out as well. Like you were saying, it's about how you're asking and how you're prompting it. Still is the output that you're going to get. So in my interaction with it, like when I see something, I'm like, well, no, that's not the update I wanted. And I tell it like, go to this line and look at this code and then do this, which is not that much different than working with junior level developers.
Yeah.
Or even senior ones that are like swamped with 15 different projects.
Right.
Because they only have, they're shifting between things. It's at least this one's, again, the time that you're getting it versus sending a ticket in, updating a ticket, a comment, waiting for the hours to go by, and then me not remembering what I asked for.
Right.
versus this, like I'm somewhat engaged for the few hours and then
Right.
move on, then the whole thing's done.
Yeah. So efficiency level, it's huge. And then like I know I was a little not really against it. It's more like I needed to learn it better in order to use it better. But it feels like now I feel like I should have used it earlier to make it more efficient. Because it saves a lot of time and a lot of different things.
Yeah, I don't know that it was there like even 3 months ago.
Maybe not. Yeah, like it was probably like kind of bits and pieces. It wasn't really fully flushed out like this. And then now that maybe it was better that we waited this long to kind of test it all out to see the quality. Even now, like some of the things I was just testing out V0, it'll just crash every 2 seconds right now. And I ask it to build certain blocks just to kind of like get started on it. And it's building it, but I haven't really tested it because it was keep crashing.
Yeah.
So there's like a lot of these caveats, but then you have to be a little patient, but it's still faster than junior code or junior developers delivering the code for you.
As you get more into it, you'll find like you ask it to do, like, let's say you ask it to do something and then it tells you it did it. Like I was telling about before, but it's funny because it'll tell you it did all the things. And you start to look at it, it's like, no, this piece wasn't done. And then you have to put it back in and it'll literally say, oh, right. Like it feels like it's saying, oh, I forgot about that. And then it does the thing. Like it's just weird that a system doesn't always do the whole request and it'll tell you that it did.
In a way, it's similar to like sometimes like when you're giving them directions, you have to sit down with them as like this and this and this and this. You have to do this, and they're gonna have to skip like 4 out of 10.
I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've worked with, not even offshore, like we always say that, but like other developers, other teams developers, and they'll update the ticket and it's done. I'm like, it's not in the repo. Where's the PR?
Yeah,
it's like, oh, I did it. And they'll go back and forth. Like, and this will take hours, right? Back and forth. It's like, no, it's not there. And it's the same, like I've had the same now conversation with the LLMs. Like,
you committed?
Well, your code isn't there. Where like,
where'd you update? Like, I don't see
tell me where it is.
At all.
Yeah. And then you'll get the update, and it's like, well, this isn't even what I asked for.
Right. Yeah. So it was worse. I mean, I tested lightly back in the day, just like with the Copilot. I think I told you I hated Copilot because I only tried the very early version of it. And then when you told me that you actually like it, I was like, really? And then I realized I didn't really use it for like 2 years.
I think I found my newest, most current favorite thing with it. Doing code reviews. Sometimes I'll ask for things to be fixed, right? That's obvious. Yeah. But sometimes like, all right, I'm just gonna clean it up. And with WordPress coding standards, the biggest thing, like for whatever reason, PHP CBF does not fix Yoda syntax, where if this equals this, right? If the variable's first, explaining it to our non-PHP people. I can highlight it in Copilot, like, and it doesn't matter when it's one, but it's when it's like 3 different things that way, and you have to copy, paste, equal, like that. That takes forever. I can highlight it and say fix Yoda, and it just does it. It's like I would pay, and we don't even pay for Copilot anymore, but I would pay the amount to be able to do that, or have my team, whatever, to be able to do that when they get the flag. Because that like little things like that are just crazy stupid that a regular system can't do that. But now like it can do it, and like I can do it in a couple clicks versus the copy paste type, like that's just beyond frustrating to me.
So this is actually one of the things that this might be my ignorance on that. Like I never really understood why it was so important to do the Yoda expression, because a lot of times.
Oh, or why?
Yeah,
it's because if you don't do it, if you do 1 equal sign, this is the only reason. If you do 1 equal sign, it'll set the value.
No, I understand that, like the double equal to like whatever, but then Yoda is like if you're reversing the actual value versus the variable.
No, that's why it's if you mistakenly only do 1 equal sign, it will, if the variable is first
Yeah.
and the static
Oh, it's
is
just thinking
second,
it's a
it'll set
sign.
it versus giving you an error. So if it's opposite, it'll give you an error and you'll know it right away. That's the only reason.
You know what? I'm learning a new thing every day. I really didn't like the Yoda because like it always flags it, and then like I mean I do it because after that came out, but then there's a lot of times that when you do the code review, a lot of developers don't do it, and then there were clients that just custom put their standards to ignore that one, and I really didn't know the actual strong reason to keep it or not keep it. But I should.
It took me forever to be able to, my fingers type faster than my brain, like to be able to do it the correct way, because the way I think, I feel like it equals this, like that's the way so when I was doing Perl or whatever, like, and that's also when you copy and paste stuff from the internet, like that's just how it was done. So it took me forever. And so then when I see it and I have to correct it, because I still probably type it sometimes. So I'll have to correct my own stuff, right? So same idea. It's like now I can just click it and tell Copilot fix Yoda, and it does it. It also started to do that because I was cleaning up a full class, and it was done a few times. So then the next time I clicked it, it just did it. Like it did it and it said, "Do you want me to do it?" Basically, and you just accept.
Okay. Yeah. I think I told you, I switched to Codium just to test it out. It's all right. I liked it in the beginning of it, but along the way, I don't know what happened, but it wasn't doing what I asked to do. So I wanted to do the kind of like the prototype or pseudocode, certain features that I want to add on, and it's going to go into, I think it was one of the things that you mentioned. So it's like, it'll go into the file and change all these other things. I'm like, no, that's not what I want. So and also the code quality wasn't that great.
So that's the one thing I'm still having a problem with. I still can't get mine, even though my IDEs, like VS Code, is set up to do standards-based development. Copilot's code, when it generates a bunch of code or fixes a bunch of code, it does spaces instead of tabs. It doesn't put spaces around parentheses. Like it doesn't follow the actual standards, and I can't figure out. My thought was that it's looking at, and this has always been a thing for me. It goes to WordPress.org. All their stuff, like all the examples on WordPress.org, has not been run through a cleanup. No, so it's all no spaces around parentheses. It's still, some of it has, the array has gone back and forth, how to define an array. Like so it's probably going there and getting, just like it would go to Stack, or maybe even Stack Overflow, like, and that's where it's
They don't follow standards at all. No. They just kind of follow whatever ID setting that they had when they're developing, and it just follows that. And it's just I mean, like, there are things that I don't necessarily like as like a WordPress coding standards. Like there's certain things that it's like, I don't know why you need it kind of thing, but they are standards. You're following it. You're using WordPress, or like if you're in Drupal, like you're using Drupal, you need to follow their standards because you're on their
whatever the library language you're using.
Right.
It should be in that one. Yep.
I had to convince one of the tech lead at our client site that like he was trying to. We're using WordPress and he wanted to use the Go language coding standard. This was like when the whole US was just started. I'm like, that's like, I had to sit down and say, you're using WordPress. This is your main CMS that you're using. So you need to follow that, because if you make it different from there, like it's just going to get chaotic. Like, what are you doing? So like, and then he just understood it. At least like he was reasonable. I'm like, oh yeah, that makes sense. But I mean, like there are things that are like little like, I don't know if you really need it, but at the same time, you're using the tools. So anywho, I mean, it kind of went like all over the place. But
this was a not organized podcast.
But I don't know. We'll see how things go, because like we didn't really like the topics that AI suggested that much, because it didn't feel like Maybe we're just too technical to understand.
I still want to build out, whether we do it on the podcast or not, I still want to build out a theme, a WordPress theme,
Okay.
using one of the AIs to do it. I don't know if it'll do it based on code base. I was telling you about this, like for a site that's using a page builder,
Right.
like being able to convert that to full page editing type, like current standards.
No, I'm laughing because I was trying to do that before we started the meeting, but I only had like 30 minutes to start it. So like it started it. That's what I was complaining about the V0. It was constantly crashing, so I had to rerun it a few times, and it only did like maybe like 10% of what I asked to do.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, this is for the next episode. I'm not gonna be able to demo this thing, but we'll get there, and then we'll probably showcase that. And it's actually trying to separate it into theme and the plugin.
I wonder if a simpler approach would be to like take the Boozy Browsing site that we built.
Yeah, because I was trying to do
have it make that as a WooCommerce type, like a style, a theme that could be used inside of WordPress and WooCommerce. Like that might be the easier since it's already built it. Right. And it has all the kind of background for why it built it the way it built it.
That might be the better choice because I was trying to do it with our marketing site. And there's just so many pages that it was asking me to specify certain pages.
Okay.
And so I was like, all right, maybe just do the Boozy Browsing because it's just a one page.
Okay. No, I meant the Boozy Browsing merch site.
The what?
The merch site that we built.
Oh.
That we didn't.
You actually have it running anywhere?
Well, it's a project, and it's in. Yeah. I mean, it could be in GitHub if we wanted it to be. So it wouldn't. It's already had, like I said, it's already started it to that point. Like the next prompt could be, "Hey, I want to build this in WordPress." Like we could see what it does.
Yeah, this is how little I know about that because like I thought it's just kind of like it goes away, and then I didn't know you can just respin it up to do it.
Now you have to delete it for it to go away.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that whole like it's a little bit so. Bolt is a little bit different than some of the others because those are very much they're technically, I don't know what they're called, projects or whatever, but they're unique. They're definitely walled off.
Okay. Yeah.
And they retain them until you delete them.
Yeah.
Especially since I got the paid version, I'm assuming there might be a limit if you don't.
Yeah, the V0 is supposed to be another version of Bolt.net new. It's more like front end, like whatever the prototyping thing. But I wasn't too. I mean, I just played with it. So I only gave an hour. So I might be biased. I might learn a little more things about it. But so far, it crashed 4 times when I try to do stuff. But I'm not on the paid version yet. So it might be why too. And also, it connects with the vessel, which is another thing. So I was like, I was a little confused on that. So I'll find out to see. Or I'll test out Lovable too.
I just went over to Bolt to see if I was going to do like a teaser, and they're experiencing outages. I mean, I can still this wasn't that long ago, but like if GitHub went down or like any infrastructure thing, even AWS would obviously, when they go down, that's consumer facing a lot of times, but anything that's like running developer tools, everyone can freak out.
Right.
So it's not like it's new for these things to happen.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I mean, like I don't think I'll freak out on something like that.
I love it. Pointed me to X for their, and then there's people. How long do you think it'll take? Actually responded, we have no idea. Nice. That's good. That's good. Customer relations or developer relations.
Well, anyways, this was an interesting conversation. That's like, I mean, like to talk about different things anyway. So, I mean, hopefully it's not too boring, but we might step it up and see. But
next time we're going to talk about converting or building WordPress themes with AI for sure.
Yeah, we'll definitely do that.
Yeah.
All right then.
All right, so let's do. All right, so let's see what it takes to make our Boozy Browsing merch store a WordPress theme. Can you convert this site that you've built in probably React into a WordPress theme that's going to be powered by WooCommerce? Dun, dun, dun.
Are you still using Whisper?
Yeah, I love it.
Really?
I'm sure there might be better things out there. I have no idea. It's great. I still have to add it to my phone to see if I like it there too.
I'll have to test it because like I was still holding on to it, but I'm like, this is way better than me typing and making all these typos.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's like I was saying, like my ability to type and then fix my typos, like I didn't realize how slow I was compared to just I say something and it even creates the correct case for WooCommerce. Mm-hmm. WordPress is cased correctly.
Does it actually pick up? Because like, you know, like I even though I don't like to believe, but I do have a little bit of accent depending on where I talk.
I mean, I don't know about accents, but like Endeavor, right? Yeah. I had to fix, like it creates a dictionary. So also and I fixed it. I told it to fix it, and then I fixed it in the dictionary. Now every time I say Endeavor, like Endeavor.
Yeah, I think probably the first thing I have to fix was Meeky because my name is weird.
Yeah, Endeavor, Meeky.
Yeah. See, that's wrong. Never Meeky.
Work for Endeavor. See it in the right tent, like it knew how to do it. I work with Meeky. I wonder if it'll do that. Yeah. Gotta be worse. I mean, tries.
It's not that hard.
Well, I don't think I've ever tried to do your name, so now if I add it, and I don't remember how I fixed it last time, because I know if I go into the app, it did the styles and functions. I'd be very curious to see. I think I can click now to see what this looks. Oops. Yeah, I can see what it looks like already. Yeah, so it's doing spaces instead of tabs, whatever. It's not putting spaces around parentheses.
No, so the coding standard is off.
Yeah, and then it did. So this is the functions file.
Why is the PHP file not?
So it's not object oriented.
Okay.
Typical. I mean, it's stuff. I feel like now we have to keep recording to see what I'm not going to add it to a WordPress site, though. I'm not going to go that far. Like, what's the styles look like? So is that the comment? Yeah, it has the comment.
Oh, look at that.
Cool. It's got the text domain.
I imported the font. How does it know what font to use?
Well, it just picked one, and then I didn't have it change it.
Oh, that
was the font that it picked when we were reviewing the other day.
That's a generic one.
Got a WooCommerce file. Look at that. It knew.
And it closed it.
Oh, it's even doing the directories correctly. It's got a single product file. Mm-hmm. Content product. This might be a more functional site than I thought. Okay. Well, come back next week and you'll see.